What's up, everybody? We're back. Episode 7 of the End of the Bench Show. Joined here again by Pat. Pat, what's going on, man?
Not much, buddy. How you doing?
You know, had a pretty long day at work. It's not even over yet, so looking forward to this little...
My days are getting longer and longer, too.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to this, 45-minute to an hour conversation we're about to have. Really take my mind off of things. We have a little bit to get into, football, baseball. Before we start, though, I want to dedicate this episode to two people. Pat, our friends Gina and Kate lost their cousin David to cancer this weekend, and our other friend Chris Perkowski, who will be coming on sometime next week, maybe the week after, also lost his grandma to coronavirus. So want to dedicate this episode to them. So Pat, no pressure. This has to be the best episode we've ever done. So let's get into it. Let's start with the Jets, who made some interesting news this week. Yep. I think Monday was the day they signed Frank Gore.
I believe it was Monday.
What did you think of that?
Gotta be honest, I liked it. The numbers are kind of skewed because the guy has been playing for as many years as he have. I think he's entering his 16th season, if what I looked at was good. I don't expect him to be the guy who's out there, every single play. That's clearly not what the case is going to be. But when you got Le'Veon Bell slotted as your number one, but I think he's definitely going to bring some veteran presence to that running back core that now has Bell and Perrine, who we had drafted. He's a rookie coming in. You got the ageless Frank Gore coming in, who will be able to show him the ropes. I like the signing, 1-year deal. Why not? Taking a look at some of his stats from last year, looks like he had 16 games with the Buffalo Bills, about 166 carries, just shy of 600 yards. He averaged about 3.6 yards a carry. So, like I said, it's not, a huge signing, but I do like it. I think it's a good depth move. It's gonna be fun seeing Bell, Gore, and Perrine running the ball this year.
Yeah, I agree. I was also a fan of it. Couple of things you said. I think Frank Gore, besides his rookie season, has always led his team in carries. So I definitely think he is going to be a good locker room guy for the Jets, which they do need. But I do think he's going to be a lot more involved than people may think he's going to be originally. He's definitely going to be more than a locker room presence to me. Adam Gase wants to get, lessen the load on Le'Veon Bell, which sounds crazy because a lot of fans don't realize how much we actually used him last year. We didn't use him.
Well, that's going to go back to the lack of targets that Darnold and co. had. Yeah. So, you kind of had to go to Bell. But, yeah, like you said, Gase is hopefully going to use him in the proper role. And the other big thing is that Frank Gore apparently had come out and said that he loves Adam Gase. He loves playing for him. So, they already got that relationship. And I think that's only going to benefit the team as a whole.
Yeah, they love each other, which that's great. But I don't know how I feel about Adam Gase having more fingerprints on this team. This move, although I do like it, it smells like more like Adam Gase than Joe Douglas. And, I understand you want to lessen the load of Le'Veon Bell. He had 311 touches last year, just 8th among running backs in the NFL. But it's all, to me, it doesn't matter if you lessen the load for him. You just have to use him better. And I don't know, maybe Frank Gore coming in, Le'Veon Bell split out wide more, which would be good because we have no wide receivers, which we're going to get into in a minute. But, I agree. It's good to have someone in the locker room that likes Adam Gase because I don't think many players in that locker room do.
No,
so if you have a veteran like Frank Gore in there to kind of, I guess, back up what the coach is trying to say, it could lead to better things. But at the end of the day, he's going to run the ball when he runs the ball. I don't know. I just don't know how. I don't not like it, but I don't know if I love it. It's just like a whatever.
Are you saying in terms of the signing? Do you say you not love it simply because he's coming in? You thinking he's going to be a Gase guy, or you don't like it because he got entering what I think he's gonna be 37 this year, 37-year-old running back. What's
I just don't. I don't like it if it's just like he's gonna be Le'Veon's backup, and we're gonna lessen Le'Veon's touches out of the backfield and give them to Frank Gore and take Bell off the field.
I don't think it's going to be that.
If we lessen his touches and then bring in Frank Gore on the field at the same time, like because we split out Bell or something, I'm more on board with that. But I don't know if I trust Gase to use it like that.
Yeah, that's the problem. You're not going to be able to trust him. But I'm hoping that that's the way they're going to do it. I mean, Bell is obviously going to be the number one back. And then if he goes out wide, have Gore come in. I'm actually curious as to see how this is going to affect Perrine and his development this year. I mean, of course, when you have Le'Veon Bell, you expect he's going to be your number one guy. But you go ahead and draft this running back in the third or fourth round?
Yeah, I think it was day 3.
Was it day 3? All right, so then it probably was right the fourth round. You want to see what he has and what he can bring to the table. So it's going to be interesting to see how these three line up throughout the course of the season. But I mean, like I said, I like it. It's a good depth move, and it seems like he is generally consistent. I mean, as he gets older, less touches, but it seems like when he gets the ball, he knows what to do with it. So I don't hate it. I don't expect him to see him out there, every single drive. But it's going to be interesting to see how Gase uses him.
Yeah, I don't know. I think like we're going to see him get like 10 to 12 touches a game, probably. Frank Gore.
Roughly, I could see that.
But I don't know. It's honestly, it is like you said, it is a depth move. So it's not of like the most importance. But I think it's just weird because you have all the people last year saying you didn't use Bell correctly, and then you draft a running back, which you need backups, and you sign proven veteran Frank Gore, who's going to be 37 when we start the year. And then you sign no wide receivers, really. I mean, you sign Perriman, which is fine. You draft Mims, which is a project. I think the logical move, which we both agree on, is that this will definitely put Bell on the field more. It just won't put him in the backfield as much, probably.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
Which I'm fine with. I just don't know. Like, it's like the Jets are getting cute, and we're not good enough to get cute, in my opinion.
No. Yeah, no,
and that's really my biggest problem with it.
But I mean, leading into the second portion of our Jets talk is how we're talking about how with the signing of Gore, we might see Le'Veon Bell stationed out as a wideout, more often than not. Some news that came down with the Jets. We had some decent news with this signing, but then we have some bad news with them. Is that wide receivers Quincy Enunwa and Josh Bellamy have both been placed on the PUP list, and they are going to be out for the 2020 season. And that is a big smack to the already somewhat depleted, not depleted, but low-caliber wide receiving core. I'll say low-caliber. Because
you could be nice,
like you said, we signed Perriman. Crowder had a great year last year, and we go ahead and draft Denzel Mims. So that's what you're looking at in terms of the top 3 on the wide receiver depth chart. But after that, it's a really big fall off. There's really not any standout big names that I would see. Some of the guys that I look at, Braxton Berrios, he was more used as a return man last year. They signed a couple of undrafted free agents, so we'll see how they play it. But it looks like the signing of Gore may have been something along the lines of knowing that he's going to use Bell out of the backfield a little bit more. I don't know. What do you think?
Boy, I definitely think Bell is going to go out wide. I think we hammered that to death. But I heard that Bellamy was probably going to get cut anyway. I heard Rich Zamini say that today, so that's not really anything to me. Like, it's something in the fact that we lost, a body at a position we need bodies at. And same thing with Quincy Enunwa. We haven't seen him play in, a year and a half almost.
It hurts because I really liked Quincy Enunwa. I thought when he was on the field, he could have been a big game changer. But the guy has been dealing with this neck issue. I think I've read somewhere that it could lead to, I think what he makes potentially have is spinal stenosis, which what ended David Wright's career in baseball. I
Right.
know, obviously, two completely different sports, but the injury itself in football, it's going to be 10 times worse, especially when
Yeah.
you're a wide receiver. I think he's done. I think he's fully guaranteed. His contract's fully guaranteed for this season. But we may be looking at a potential buyout with him because I don't know if he's really going to be able to play a game ever again.
Yeah, it's sad. And like you said, it's a neck injury, so we really just, football aside for a second, just worry about him like going forward
Yeah,
in life. Um,
exactly.
but I think like in terms of him being on the PUP, it sucks because like we need receivers, obviously, but it's like probably weren't going to see him anyway. And if we
Probably
did
not.
see him, like how much of him would we see? Would it even be productive? It kind of sucks because he had a really good year, Darnold's first year, and then they locked him up
Hmm.
to this deal, and then he gets hurt. Obviously, that is what it is. And then we lose Robbie Anderson the next offseason, the one that we're in now, which was another one of Sam's like more favorite targets. So from that standpoint, I worry more about what this is going to do for Sam losing like all of his guys as
I think
opposed to
he's
yeah
gonna really have to build up a relationship with Denzel Mims. I think he's going to be a really big target in the passing game this year
yeah
outside of Crowder. Crowder he's gonna become Sam's number one target. He was his number one target last year in terms of looks. I think he had 122 targets. Robbie Anderson was second in that at like 96 or something. So
yeah
Crowder's was definitely the big target for Jet quarterbacks last year, and I think that's going to continue into this year. But I think we're going to see Mims get a lot of targets his way now that we know Enunwa is pretty much done.
it's pretty much done.
Yeah.
But yeah, I do agree. I think it's frustrating because this is year 3 for Darnold, which is the year that we have historically seen a lot of like young quarterbacks take that step where like that they're going to be good for a long time in this league.
Mm-hmm.
And not anything against Sam, I just don't know if we're going to be able to see that this year, given the people he has to throw the ball to.
Mm-hmm.
I
Yeah,
mean,
no.
that's the most frustrating part, besides losing receivers, which is a huge position of need. I mean, we also don't have. I don't want to get like too off into a Jet preview, but like we also don't really have a pass rush and we have no corners, so our whole defense is just going to rely on Greg Williams' scheme and coverage. And if we don't have a lot of good corners, we're probably not going to cover a whole lot. So I
Yeah.
don't really. It's
Well, I
just
mean,
it's starting out terrible already, and we're
while
in.
we're on the that corner subject, the Jets also did re-sign Arthur Millette. You know, cornerback need is there. We'll see what happens. But yeah, I agree with you 100%. Corner is going to be an issue.
Yes.
But we'll see what happens. I mean, Douglas had a great draft. Hopefully, those pieces can come together well when it comes to game time.
Yeah, I think the last bit of Jet news that we didn't talk about in the little pre-show meeting, because we have pre-show meetings because we're really professional,
Absolutely.
is Andy Dalton did not sign with the Jets, and I was livid when I saw he went to the Cowboys. And we haven't even talked about it, so I don't even know how you feel about it. But I'm not being sarcastic. I was extremely mad when I saw that Andy Dalton signed with the Cowboys and
I
not the
mean,
Jets.
I'll be honest. I always kind of liked Andy Dalton. I never thought that he was, a showstopper at any means. But the guy could
Yeah,
play. He had some good seasons in Cincinnati. I was more shocked that New England and Belichick didn't try and scoop him up. That's what shocked me, to be honest with
yeah.
you.
Well,
When I heard he went to Dallas, I was like, all right. I mean, you're kind of already having an issue with your quarterback that wants to get paid. Now you're bringing in Dalton on the 1 year. But I was more shocked that he didn't go to New England.
Yeah, so I have two things on that. So first, New England, I'm more worried that he didn't go there than scared because it tells me that Bill Belichick knows a lot that we don't know about Jared
Bill
Stidham.
Belichick already knows a lot that we don't know about. Like the guy is
He probably knows who's going to solve for the coronavirus vaccine too.
I
But
wouldn't
my
be
second,
surprised.
my second point to speak to the Cowboys is that I think Dalton being there is kind of like Jerry Jones saying to Dak Prescott, "You want to hold out? That's fine. I won't miss you because I have this quarterback who can win me games, who's won games in the NFL with a lot less
Well,
than he'll have with the
he's
Cowboys."
won regular season games though. Let's not get
Okay, well, Dak
in over
Prescott's
our
only won one
heads.
playoff game, and Andy Dalton hasn't had the type of supporting cast that he would have in Dallas. And
Fair,
he's going to play
fair,
inside half the time, too.
fair.
It's probably not easy playing in Cincinnati late in the season. Have to
Very
imagine
true.
that.
I mean,
So,
yeah, I mean he'll definitely have the weapons compared to what he had. He had, AJ Green, and that was
he had
probably
like a year of Tyler Eifert before he
yeah,
just got hurt for the rest of his
yeah.
life.
So I mean, yeah, I guess you're right there. I don't know, but I mean, it's gonna
$3
be
million.
it's gonna be interesting. That's what he signed for.
$3 million. It could go up
Yeah.
to $7 million with incentives, and I mean even that is fine. I don't know. I agree with you. I always liked Andy Dalton in the regular season. In the playoffs, he always shit the bed. The big game, he always shit the bed. But I got news for like everyone who doesn't want him as a Jet fan. When Sam Darnold goes out, it doesn't matter what game it is. Our backup quarterback will most likely be shitting the bed because it's either the draft pick at FIU
Or
fails or whatever the fuck his name is.
Yeah.
Damn, that was the first time I cursed this episode. I was so proud of myself that lasted this long.
But I think that's why, going back to the Jets, that's why they took Morgan in the fourth when they did. A lot of people were shocked at that, but they didn't have a backup quarterback. I mean, yeah, he's going to be a rookie, and he's probably going to be maybe number 2, number 3 on the depth chart. But
I think he'll be 3.
Yeah, I think he'll be 3 too. I mean, I think it might be a battle. I think it's going to be a battle when it comes to training camp on that backup quarterback spot. So we'll see what he can do. We're going to see him in a good amount of games in preseason. So we'll see what he's got.
Yeah, I think he'll be 3rd because Fales knows the playbook already since he's spent so much time with Case in his career. But it's May 6th, so we're not going to get too deep into this little Jets rant that we're on.
Right now, it's supposed to be baseball season, but I mean, this is what we got to talk about.
It's supposed to be baseball season, and have you watched any of the KBO, the Korean baseball, whatever?
I have. I've seen some highlights. A couple of bat flips and every now and then, but I don't know. It's tough for me to be up at 1:00 in the morning, being able to paint. As much as I would love to, I got work. So I mean, I got to be up at even though we got to be home, I still got to be up at a decent hour. I want to be sure I get a decent night's sleep. If I start watching baseball at 1 a.m., you can be damn well sure I'm not going to wake up for work.
I heard the first game ESPN had didn't even start on time. So it was like
it was supposed to start at 1 a.m. and it started at
2. So like Carl Ravitch is just sitting there in his house, like twiddling his thumbs when he should probably be sleeping. Like that's another thing. Could you imagine being told like, "Hey, you have to work this game at 1 a.m." and you've never like seen any of these guys?
You're not
like him and who's he? I think he's doing it with Eduardo Perez. They're not even like together. They're just on like Zoom.
Yeah, it's awkward. It's weird. I did see. I mean, in terms of watching a little baseball, there's a couple of things I did watch with MLB Network. We're just doing the show Players League.
Tommy Kane was out, so I'm out. I think Blake Snell.
Well, it's over now. It's over now. Blake Snell won it all. He ended up beating Lucas Giolito in the finals.
The Rays got
but that's
something.
Cool. I thought that was cool seeing that. Mets had Jeff McNeil. He lost to Blake Snell in the semis. But it was cool seeing these guys just playing each other online, just looking like normal average Joes in terms of guys who are just sitting back playing their video games and stuff. I thought it was cool.
Yeah, no, I did watch some of it. I liked that more than the 2K League that the NBA did, because like you could just clearly tell that the NBA guys like were not friends, and it wasn't like they weren't friends, like they were like talking a lot of shit and being rude to each other. They were not friends, and that like they were not talking at all.
And that doesn't make
you were just
good.
Watching two guys who, quite frankly, they all sucked at 2K.
I love watching bits of the Players League because it was like these guys clutch home runs and they're going crazy you and I would do, and like if we were just playing in a game online or something. So it was fun seeing that different side of the players, and that's kind of something that baseball needed in terms of the recognition and the marketing that I've talked about with Landy on the Lodge, about how MLB doesn't market as well as the other major sports, at least football and basketball. So I think that's something that definitely helped them.
Yeah, it's funny. They probably won't ever do it again. So
I know, unfortunately.
That's all you need to know about the MLB.
That's gonna piss me off. That'd be cool if they did. The players just try to get something going, like in their off season, like over the winter or something. But what are you gonna do?
I think Tommy Canley goes on Twitch like every night. He usually has like Zach Britton or
a lot of guys are doing it now. I mean, why not? You have the time now. You can't really do it during the season. So,
he had Judge on one night, so that's pretty cool.
I gotta start watching more of these. But
anyways. I just found out yesterday. I didn't watch it. I'm just acting. I'm acting like I watched it, but but like I was saying, like, could you imagine being Carl Ravitch and Eduardo Perez calling this game on Zoom and like me and you cut each other off on this, and like we're just talking, but like they're literally like doing their job, like trying to call the game for people, and like it's just so hard for them to be in sync.
I don't know. I mean, I haven't watched, so I don't know how bad it's been.
It may not have been bad, honestly. I'm just thinking out loud, like that has to be.
But I'll be honest though. Generally, when I'm listening to ESPN, for the most part, I kind of just mute the commentary, like Sunday Night Baseball.
But I love Carl Ravitch's voice.
I know. I mean, and when it came to Sunday Night Baseball, I loved hearing Matt Vescursion and Alex Rodriguez, but Jessica Mendoza kind of killed it for me.
Yeah,
nothing against her being a female, of course. It just I didn't like the insight that the three of them didn't mesh well. So I was like, and me being the Met fan, I have Gary, Keith, and Ron as my daily announcers. So it's I kind of get spoiled with them.
New Yorkers are spoiled in general.
Yeah, I mean, we got some great announcers. I mean, we kind of when it comes to the national stage, it doesn't do it for us.
Yeah, I mean,
we want our guys.
We have the best because, like, even like the Knicks have Mike Breen, who's the national NBA announcer, and the Nets have Ian Begley and Ryan Rucco, who are two of the best, and they do national basketball games too. And then like Michael Kay, the Yes booth is nothing to sneeze at. People shit on it because it's not like as good, quote unquote, as the Mets are. But like the Yankees one is amazing. I'm sure the Liberty one is fine. The Islanders guy, their new guy,
Brendan Burke and Butch Gorin.
Yeah, they're really good. The Rangers one is really good. So New Yorkers are just spoiled in general when it comes to announcers, which is why I don't think we like ESPN baseball.
We got some good play-by-play and color guys, and anytime I listen to like a national game, it's really tough, especially when it comes to football, and you got to listen to guys like Joe Buck and Chris Collinsworth. Every Sunday night or something. So,
dude, I was watching. Now that you said, I was watching the Packers Seahawks game on Monday. The one where, what do they call it? The Fail Mary in the end zone.
Oh, right.
And it was from I don't know, I don't even think that was 2011 or 2014.
That was the replacement. That was a replacement ref here.
Yeah, and I heard Gruden back in the booth, and I was like, oh my God, I miss you so much in the booth.
Yeah, Gruden was awesome. I mean, anything but Booger McFarland. And dude, that ESPN football, especially, I can't listen to him.
No, he's terrible. I don't even know. I don't have a favorite NFL broadcast, which I guess says it all.
Who's really good if we're talking about that?
Don't say play-by-play guy.
No. Ian Eagle.
Yeah, Ian Eagle's good.
He's good. He's got the voice. He puts the passion into it on the specific calls. Yeah. I think he's one of the best.
He is good. I'll give you that one, but Tony Romo, absolutely not. Well, he is good. He's just not my cup of tea.
He's good, but
he's not for me. So what was this baseball stuff you want to talk about? There's new stuff in the MLB now?
Yeah, so according to a couple of sources, which also include former Major Leaguer Trevor Plouffe, there have been some talks that the MLB is meeting up, and they expect to get an announcement out that they are trying to kick off Spring Training 2.0 at the end of June for about 2 weeks, and then looking for a first weekend of July start date, try and get about 100 regular season games in. So if that's true, which all signs that I've seen is pointing to yes, I'm pumped.
Yeah.
It's been way too long. I miss Major League Baseball. I know you got the KBO now is being aired, but it's not the same. Major League Baseball hopefully coming back. I know they had the proposed division outline just
Yeah, me
2020
and Wendy
season.
talked about that, but me and
Yeah,
you
no.
didn't.
No, we didn't. I mean, I'm taking a
We could
look at
hit
it
it.
now. It's basically you're just combining the AL, AL, NL, East, Central, and West, and just making it just
Yeah.
one division. The only thing I don't know, I just don't understand how Rob Manfred looks at this, but then puts the Pirates, who are in the NL Central, in the Eastern Division, and puts the Braves, who are in the NL East, in the Central Division. Like
Because divisions are stupid.
I agree,
That's
it's
why.
stupid. But it just doesn't make sense how you have all the Western teams and pretty much all the Eastern and Central teams all together in the one division, but then you just flip flop the Pirates and the Braves for no reason. Doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people may not be a fan, but getting past that, I know a lot of people may not be a fan of how the layout looks, but
I
anything to
love
get
it.
baseball back. Anything to get baseball back. I really don't care. We all know it's going to be a shortened season. Let's just let them do what they got to do. Yankees and Mets in the same division for probably once in a lifetime. So
Yeah.
that's pretty exciting. I think that would be pretty cool. I don't know how they're going to do a potential playoff series. That's something that hasn't really been discussed as far as I've read.
Yeah.
They may end up doing something like top 4 teams of each division.
I
Yeah,
heard it
I don't know.
was I heard it was the top 2 teams in the division, and then oh, god damn it. And then I think like a wild card from each, like 3 wild cards and the 2 top teams from each division is what I think I heard.
2 top and
So that's what, 6?
might
That's 9 teams. So there probably have to be a
19 and
bye
what
in there
do?
somewhere.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I don't
Or
know.
maybe like 3 plays 2, and then the winner of that one plays 1, like in terms of the wild card structure. I don't know.
It's gonna be interesting on how they do it. I think if
Yeah.
that's gonna be the case, depending on how late the regular season actually runs, because they still do want to get a 100-game minimum regular season. Even if you start
Yeah.
in early July, that's still going to take you through to roughly what, maybe end of September, middle to end of September.
Yeah.
Maybe even early October. So I mean, you're still trying to get in that amount of time. I don't know if maybe for the first round of playoffs or something, they just do a best of 3 rather than a best of 5 or anything. But all I know is if it gets down to a potential championship series and World Series, you still got to make it best of 7.
Yeah, all I know is that I think they will probably have to end up shortening like playoff series, and this goes for like not just baseball. I think every sport will probably have to end up doing this. And I just know like baseball definitely will not make it just 1 game. They'll have at
They
least
should.
3. I think the World Series, I'd like to see it still stay at 7,
It's
depending
got
on
it.
the start date. I mean, they may have to cut it to 5. I don't think they're going to do the World Series as a best of 3. That much I'll say. And I don't think they'll do anything besides like the wild card stuff. Like
I'm thinking, if anything, first or second round, depending on how many teams or however the format's going to look, best of 3, then do a best of 5 and a best of 7 for the World Series if you have to. Now the biggest thing that some people might think of is with the shortened season, any champion crowned, are they going to end up having an asterisk next to it because it's only 100 games?
If the Astros didn't get an asterisk, this champion won't get an asterisk.
No, the Astros have an asterisk in the court of public opinion. So
well, that's what this will be. I mean,
well, yeah, I guess you're right. But I mean, in terms of that, I'm just talking about in game length. 62 games. 62 games is a big difference from teams. During a regular season, you could be at game 100, you could be at the top of your division, and by game 162, you could only be fighting for a wild card spot. So I mean, 62 games does make a big difference. So I'm just curious as to some people would see that, but honestly, I don't care. I just want baseball back.
Yeah, I wouldn't care. I do know like what you're saying. Like people have been saying, "Oh, I won't care as long as they're playing. It's fine." And so that I say, by the time they get to game 90, you're gonna give a shit if your team's like a few games out.
Mm-hmm.
It's not gonna be all sunshine and roses all year.
Yeah.
Like eventually, once like baseball really takes off and all the other sports takes off, people are gonna probably forget about like why we're doing a shorter season, just like in their brain.
Yeah, and I'll also just say
they're gonna start to give a shit about it. So
I absolutely
definitely hear that.
And I'll also just say anybody who's saying that even if you can't go to games, don't bother, because the whole point of baseball is so we can go to the park and see these guys. No, just there's nothing wrong with letting them play without fans as long as the games are still televised or on the radio or anything like that. You could still make a go of it. Have your own little tailgating party in your backyards or whatever during the summer. That's something, if is possible, I definitely want to do. Set up a TV in the backyard, come over, have some drinks, some food.
I've been waiting for you to do this for a while, Pat, so it's time to...
What, my backyard?
Yeah, it's time. You've been telling me this for a while. It's time for you to actually do it.
It's got to happen this summer, especially seeing as how with everything going on. Once everything is in the clear, I would like to have you and the boys and all of our buddies, Nick and the others, whatever it may be, in the backyard.
And all the listeners, too.
All the listeners, yeah.
All the listeners. Pat has a huge backyard.
I do have a very big backyard. I also have a very a chill father who really doesn't really care about anything that goes on in the household. But yeah, dude,
you always just go to the high school too.
That too, yeah.
Take over to the school.
But yeah, I'm excited. Hopefully, this does go through. They can get back on the field, and then whenever quote unquote opening day is, I want to have that TV in the backyard set up, plugged in, and then just sit back and relax and just take it all in.
Yeah. So I know, me and Landy talked about the division, restructure that Nightingale. Either I don't know if he came up with it or if he heard it from someone in baseball, but regardless, he leaked it. And I was telling him, and I don't know if you listened to that episode, but I said they should just keep this forever. Just these three.
I know. I remember you saying it, but I think some sort of restructure of the divisions and the leagues is going to come into play, but I don't think it should occur until you're absolutely sure that you're going to have expansion teams.
Yeah, but I think my thing with the division is just because we know that universal DH is coming, whether
it's absolutely
fans want that or not. So, once that gets here, what's the point of American League and National League? I mean,
you could argue then what's the difference between Eastern
there is. Well, don't get me started on that, because I don't think I don't want the NBA to have conferences or divisions. So, same with NHL. I don't like the whole 2-week shit.
Well, I guess in sense you're gonna have to look at it as if it's not National League, American League, different rule set like baseball looks at that. You may look at it, how the AFC and NFC are. It's American Football Conference, National Football Conference. So it's not different rules. There's no difference in that. You're just going to look at it as there's the this conference or league, and then that conference or league, and then the divisions within those conferences. That's how you'd have to look at it. You're not looking at it as if American League means DH, National League doesn't. That's going to be just a universal thing at that point.
Yeah, I mean, I guess my main gripe is that all across sports, I don't like the split between East and West Coast leagues and the NFC and the AFC. I don't like that, so I don't really.
Well, how would you?
I don't want those to exist at all. I just want it to be the week.
But how would you do? How would you do conference changes then? How would you break up the divisions? Would you do divisions? How are you going to do it?
No, it's just the league.
Just the league.
Yeah. Just Major League Baseball, all teams.
I don't know.
That's it. And you work.
I guess I understand that, but it is just something about the structure of having separate divisions or conferences, and it just, I don't know. It just makes for I can't really put it into words, but maybe it's just because it's what we've seen our entire lives, and that change would be so dramatic you wouldn't know how to take it. But
it'll never happen.
No, it's never going to happen. I think we definitely will see at some point another divisional change. But I don't think you're going to see that, especially with baseball, until you get a couple of expansion teams in, which, I mean, it has been talked about. But, again, it's also been said that no expansion is going to occur until the Athletics and the Rays both secure long-term stadium deals. And as of right now, I don't think that's happening. So you're not even going to get those expansion teams, and you're not going to get a divisional adjustment.
Yeah. I mean, the Rays definitely need a new ballpark. which
Well, absolutely. Well, both of them do.
me,
I mean,
yeah,
both of them absolutely do, and it's bad enough for Oakland since they just lost the Raiders. I mean, they need something there. I mean, they kind of need to get a deal done. You know, the city of Oakland, whatever county it is, Alameda County, whatever the hell county it is, they need to do something to keep the A's in town because the Raiders left. Yeah, I don't even know what other fucking teams are out that way, but like as far as I know, from the back of my mind, the Oakland Athletics is the only team that has Oakland in the name. So it's like I wouldn't want them to lose that.
Yeah. I mean, they could just like get a new stadium and stay in Oakland. That'd be
And
nice.
fucking in terms of Tampa Bay, like I think at this point, there's no point of having the professional baseball teams down in Florida. They don't draw enough of a crowd. The crowd they do draw are mostly away team fans.
Yeah, but they do well on TV.
Landy and I have had this discussion. You know, nothing wrong with Florida as a state for spring training. It's a great state to be down there for spring training, but they're not drawing crowds with the two professional teams that they have. Yeah. And maybe it's time that both the Marlins and the Rays just need to kind of pick up and move. But I don't know. That might be a discussion for another day. But yeah.
Yeah, I mean, me and Cass talked about baseball stadiums, and we both agreed that Tampa was the absolute worst. Because he wanted to rank his 5 worst ones along with his 5 best ones because he likes to flex that he's been to 30, and like I've been to 10, so like I would just be giving my whole list.
Yeah, you guys still got me both beat, but yeah, I've never been to the Trop. My fiance Katie. My fiance Katie has with her father and her grandmother when she was down there in Tampa, and she even said this place is a dump. You know, there was one cool thing about the stadium that she liked was they had a Devil Ray tank out in like center field or something, or somewhere in the outfield. She said that was the coolest part of the stadium. Other than that, there's absolutely no reason for a professional sports franchise to be in that terrible of an arena.
Yeah, the other cool thing is you could like get a seat upgrade somehow, and like you sit on like these beach chairs, but they like recline like all the way back, so you're basically laying down. And that's just a terrible idea when you're at a baseball game because like if a fly ball comes, like you're fucked.
You gotta be up and ready to go. Yeah.
Like I just picture some dude falling asleep, like half drunk.
Well, it almost seems like that's how they would do it.
Hits him in the face.
I mean, it's possible. I don't know how many fans you're going to see going to those kind of games. I mean, I'm curious as to see what the attendance draw has been for the Tampa Bay Rays over the last several years. I know they've definitely been at the bottom. But I'm curious as to what the actual number is.
I don't know what it is, but I know it's not great. I know they do better on TV, which after being at the stadium, I think I've been there like 3 or 4 times, definitely understand. And it's also, I joked with Cass, like, it is always raining after a Rays game.
Well, it's Florida.
Always raining, and there's only one bridge that you can take to go out of the stadium.
That I've heard is another big issue is just in terms of the travel to and from the stadium, just how it's positioned, like where, because it's not technically in Tampa, it's in St. Pete, right?
Yeah. It's like 2 hours from Orlando.
Exactly.
Which is where I stay when I go to Florida, and I think Miami's like 4 or 5 hours. And
yeah, I mean you gotta drive down the coast for that. But Tampa's like
but like it's so much more worth like the extra hours to get to Miami than it is to get to Tampa. But I don't know. But Cass says Miami sucks too. It's his second least favorite stadium. So I don't. So maybe Florida
really
is just
that actually surprised me a little bit.
He said it looks stupid.
Miami looks. Maybe it's just out of place. You know, I think that's it. I just think, you know, Landy has talked about it. Professional baseball probably shouldn't, like, professional baseball franchises probably shouldn't be set in Florida because they just can't get a decent fan base, you know?
Yeah. Cass's main problem was that, like, he doesn't like the whole inside part. So
now,
even though it's retractable, he just
did he say that he went? Did he say that he went while the walls were still lime green, or did he recently go and they've updated to blue?
I don't think he's been to Florida recently, so it was probably the older.
It's probably the lime green. So that's going to throw off a lot because that was just disgusting. That puke-colored walls and that horrific home run statue that they had out there. Oh my God, what a
Yeah.
waste of money that was.
I don't know. It still looks incredibly tacky on TV, so I'm sure it's still disgusting.
Hmm.
But now that we're speaking of the Marlins, I guess we could transition to our little fun-ish topic. Having Cassidy on tomorrow to talk about this more in detail because it's pretty heavy Yankee and Derek Jeter topic, but you are a baseball nut, so I know you'll have something to say. So ESPN is letting the fans vote on a classic Derek Jeter game that they're going to
Hmm.
air May 12th at 7 o'clock on ESPN and the ESPN app. So the options are the Jeffrey Mayer game, which for those who don't know, I think this is the one game that if you say it, some people may not know. So I'm going to read the little description. It's the Yankees were trailing 4-3 in Game 1 of the 1996 ALCS. Jeter hit a fly ball in the eighth inning, and Jeffrey Mayer caught it before it could land, and it was probably going to be an out in right field. Instead, Jeter is credited with a home run, which tied the game, and the Yankees go on to win in extra innings. And Jeter was, soon he won Rookie of the Year that year, and the
Hmm.
Yankees obviously won the World Series that year as well. So that's the first option. The second one is Mr. November. I think everyone who's listening to this knows what that game is. The dive against the Red Sox, where I mean, ran into the stands. I don't really think it's a dive, to be
It's not
honest,
a
but
dive. He ran in, but let's continue.
his 3,000th hit, which I have a cool story about that we can get into later, and his last game in Yankee Stadium. So of those five, Pat, I mean, we talked a little before, but
Hmm.
which one would you vote for to
Well,
see
I mean,
again?
I gotta say, as awesome as just watching like the clips of his Bronx farewell and how it was just like it was a great ending to a Hall of Fame career for Jeter. I gotta say, I'd probably go with Mr. November, more so because I just remember that series so vividly in terms of everything that was going on in the country at that time.
Yeah,
What was it, like 8 weeks or so right after the 9/11 attacks. Uh, the world, or all of New York was behind the Yankees, I would think, for that World Series. I'll always, of course, when it comes to that 2001 season, I'll always remember Mike Piazza's home run,
of
first
course.
game after the attacks. But then you also can't forget, what a great World Series that was between the Yankees and the Diamondbacks. I mean, that absolutely was one of the most memorable World Series. Granted, I was 9 years old at the time. I still
Yeah,
remember it pretty vividly, and I remember that game specifically. Clock strikes midnight, up steps Jeter, and finally he ends it in extra innings. So I'd probably say if I had to give it, I would say Mr. November is what I remember most. I would say that's probably my favorite. One game that I would want to go back and watch.
yeah. I mean, I'm gonna talk about this a lot more tomorrow, but I do, as of right now, I'm in lockstep with you there. I think like this, it's really between that and the Bronx farewell game.
Hmm.
What kind of gives the Mr. November a nod is that did not, I was too young to stay up for that game, like the whole game. So I never saw the home run happen, like, in the moment. I obviously saw tons of replays and tons of highlights of it. So I vividly remember it, but like, I didn't experience like that whole game in its entirety. So
Hmm.
I think like I'd want to go there. Like I basically like the dive. I remember like that whole game. This 3,000th hit. I didn't watch the 3,000 hit game because
I think I watched this 3000 hit. I
I
think I
was
remember turning
working.
it on TV and I saw that.
I was working at CVS and I got the alert on my phone that he did it. So I went over the PA system and I said, "Excuse me, everybody. Derek Jeter just got his 3,000th hit. It was a home run off David Price." And then my boss yelled at me, but that's a different story.
Good. You deserved
Uh,
it. You asshole.
but
People are
yeah,
just trying to get their prescriptions and their medications. You got to rant about that. Whatever.
trust me, I dealt with enough shit at that CVS in South America. I think
Dude,
I
I've
could
I've
have my
worked retail
moment.
too. I've worked retail too, so I know.
I could have my moment. They wanted me to work the overnight shift in that store, and I was like, dude, I barely want to work 6 to 10. Like, there's no chance I'm working the overnight.
I hear you 100%, dude.
But yeah, I think the winner will eventually be Mr. November.
I think so.
Because
know what? No.
I don't think
I think ultimately it's going to be his farewell.
I don't know.
I think
that
I think you're
so
going to
emotional.
see. Yeah, but I feel like a lot of people who are reading this online are going to just immediately go to the most recent event, and it's going to be his farewell because they're going to see it as like a storybook ending to the Hall of Fame career that he had. Like, as much as I would love to say it would be Mr. November, it's not. It's going to be the farewell.
I got to get the tissues then for that. Maybe I'll record a podcast so I don't have to watch it.
Go ahead, do what you got to do. I think it's going to be the Jeter farewell. I think that's going to be it.
I remember where it was. That was the first night I went to. The first time I ever went to Newbridge Inn was the Jeter Bronx farewell, and I was sitting in the corner booth that we usually sit at, and I was drinking a Budweiser out of the bottle, and which I never do.
Bud Heavy?
Yeah, Bud Heavy.
Oh, right. Okay. Respect.
And then Jeter comes up, hits the single, and I'm just like, wow, this place is great. And ever since then, Newbridge Inn staple in my life. So shout out to them.
Shout out to Newbridge Inn. Oh, we miss you.
Well, they're open now, 3 to 9.
No, I mean, like, I mean, yeah, I've obviously missed the food, but I just miss going there and sitting down at the bar and enjoying a nice cold one with the boys.
I miss sitting down at any bar, to be honest.
Yeah, that's true too.
Is that going to be the first thing you do, like once quarantine ends? Like, are you going to go to a bar? Like,
probably, I would say. I mean, I'm still going to be very cautious because I just don't trust.
Oh yeah. People. No, of course. But I'm just saying, like, is that the thing you're most excited to do? Like, once everything is like lifted.
Absolutely.
Yeah, me too.
There's really not much else that I do that I did when it wasn't in quarantine. That I'll, you know what I mean? Like, one of my favorite things before quarantine was going out and hanging out with the guys, going to the bar. Clearly that's going to be the number one thing I miss. When it comes to everything else.
Yeah, I agree. So I've been asking every guest this, and I never asked you. I mean, you're more co-host than guest at this point, but what is your favorite sports moment? And you didn't have to be there.
Didn't have to be there.
Yeah, but like, that you've seen. That I would prefer if you give me something you've been alive for.
Alive for. Well, I mean, when it comes
you may not have a lot because.
Well, I mean, there's plenty of events that I remember. Like the Piazza home run in 2001. I remember that, but I'll go with something a little more recent. That's fair. I'd probably say something a little more recent for me. Would be the trade that never was in 2015 of Wilmer Flores. I wrote about this on our site about one of the more memorable events over the last decade. The reason I remember that is because I just remember those 3 days from the time the trade didn't happen to that walk-off that occurred on my birthday, mind you. July 31st, 2015. I remember it specifically because I went to the bar. I went to Patty Power for my birthday. I sit down and watch the bar. The end of the game's coming up. Wilmer Flores comes up. I just noticed that we've traded for Yoenis Cespedes. And this is already a big series for the Mets. They kind of need to win the series to be in better playoff contention. And then Wilmer Flores go ahead. He hits the walk-off home run. He running the bases, smile on his face, beating his chest, saying, I'm here. I'm a Met. I'm not going anywhere. And that just led to a great second-half run that led to a National League pennant for the Mets. So that's something that I'm always going to remember, I think.
Yeah, that's a good moment for you. It's nice local flavor. I think you also mentioned in that article, maybe it was you or it was me. I think I let you do it. The D. Gordon home run.
Oh yeah. I think you said that as well. That's another. I remember watching that vividly too. I remember it because Jose Fernandez was at the time one of my favorite players. The guy, I just loved the way he pitched. He just played the game like you would see a kid play. A guy who just loved the sport. I remember getting the notification that he died, and I'm just like, no, this is a lie. That can't be true. Like the dude's scheduled to pitch in a couple hours. Like that's not possible. And I remember watching the game. It was a very emotional tribute. They had the national anthem on trumpet. It just had that like Miami feel to it almost. It cuts to the Mets and Marlins coming together, shaking hands, hugging, just showing that sometimes it's just bigger than baseball. Gary Cohen and Gary, Keith, and Ron, the three announcers for the Mets, they were showing their emotions. You could see it on their face and hear it in their voices that it was a very emotional moment. And then here comes D. Gordon, guy who I think at the time maybe had 30 career home runs to his name.
Not a lot.
Hits an absolute bomb. I've never seen a guy that size hit a ball that far. And you just see it in his face. He's rounding the bases, hits home plate. You just see it. Like he's broken. He doesn't want to play anymore after that. Like that's it. You can't beat that. So that's another pretty emotional, memorable moment that I'll always remember too.
Yeah.
Even if it happened, I didn't care the Mets lost that game. Yeah, I was just like, once D. Gordon hit that home run, I was like, I don't even care about this game. That was for you, Jose. I mean, damn.
Yeah, they all wore his number too, didn't they?
Mm-hmm.
Or was that?
I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like that's.
It's unfortunate. It's unfortunate after hearing, the additional information surrounding that death. But I mean, it's still sad, regardless.
It's still sad, regardless. I agree with you. Damn. So last episode we ended on a sad note, and I think we're gonna do it on a sad note again. So that's
just our thing.
Let me think of another good sports moment, like a happy moment, so we can end it on a better on a better note.
I'll leave it up to you because I gave my 2 moments. Now you gotta go yours.
So last episode I talked about a game I went to with my dad. So the year before that. I think it was the year before. Yeah, the year before that, I went to a Yankee game with my dad and sister, and the Yankees won on a walk-off by Clint Frazier, and it was like just huge pandemonium. It was a walk-off home run, which I think was – I've been to games where there's been a walk-off win. I don't think I've ever been to a Yankee walk-off win besides that one. I mean, I was at the Giambi home run in the ring game, but I left because I was little and I had a Little League the next day. And then I think I either played really bad that game or we didn't play because it was raining so much. And my family's still mad at me to this day about it. But yeah, I think the Clint Frazier walk-off home run was just really cool to see. I got a nice video of it too.
Nice.
Another one, I was at the Yankees playoff game.
I'm thinking of a game that I went to that I enjoyed, but I'll let you finish yours first, and I'll.
What year was it? It was the year we played the Indians, so that was 2018. Right? No, 2017.
You'd know better than me, dude.
2017, because then we lost to Houston 7 games after that. So I was at the game. We won. I think it was Game 4. We won at Yankee Stadium, and we were in the tunnel. Me, Cassidy, my sister's friends. And we started the chant of "We want Kluber," and the entire tunnel of Yankee Stadium was shaking, and it was one of the coolest fan experiences I've had.
That's cool. That's right.
So I'm gonna put those up there. Nice happy moments.
If we're gonna, I'll end one on a happy moment. I'm thinking of a game that I went to that I can't believe I almost forgot about. 2008, second to last game of the regular season. Mets versus Marlins. Johan Santana goes out and throws a complete game 3-hit shutout on 3 days rest to keep the Mets playoff hopes alive. Unfortunately, we saw what happened the next day. I'd also like to say that was the final Mets win at the beloved Shea Stadium. I remember leaving that stadium. I was with Landy and Ed Metzger. We had gotten tickets last minute. We decided to go. Yeah. We're leaving, going down the ramp. You just hear everyone singing Shay, goodbye, Just you could just feel the emotion in so many different people. And I grew up in that ballpark. It's sad in a sense because that was the last time I set foot in that ballpark. But I went out on a happy note with Shea Stadium, and that was easily the best game I've ever been to live.
Didn't you go to Piazza Day?
Piazza Day as well. But they lost that.
Katie's not going to be happy.
No.
No.
You
didn't show her any love.
Now, listen to me. The event itself, Piazza's retirement, was amazing. The game, not so much.
Yeah.
Because they lost that game. It was, raining and everything. But the pregame event, seeing his number retired, having the Piazza 31 on my back, that was another game that another moment I'll never forget. I forget the game very easily. The pregame festivities, I'll never forget.
That's fair. We're going to wrap it up here. Pat, I think that we did a good episode for David and Perkowski's grandma. I think we honored them appropriately. I hope. I guess time will tell. But thank you for coming on. Again, guys, follow us on Instagram at @TheEndOfTheBench, Twitter at @TheEOTB. If you'd like to support the podcast, the link is in all of the descriptions. 50% of your monthly support goes to No Kid Hungry. So we have a small goal. We would like to get to 3,000 meals to No Kid Hungry this year. I think it's pretty doable, but it's even more doable with your support, and of course the rest of your money definitely helps us grow the pod and try to become more professional. So Pat, thank you again for coming on, and
of course.
We will be back tomorrow, and we will have another episode posted on Saturday as well. So be on the lookout for those. Thank you all for listening and watching. Again, please subscribe to all social media. Pat, take it easy, man. I'll see you later.
Take care, bud.